some technical issues. So I don't know how this is going to look on YouTube or whatever, but I'm sure it's just going to be like a 5-minute video and then this longer video. So
Hopefully.
yeah,
With any luck, it'll be longer than 5 minutes or whatever it was. Sorry about that. I had a little power outage here, and everything kind of clicked off on me, but I think I'm back.
All right. So I think I was just talking about. I was talking about the Bring Me the Horizon track, and they're playing it on Octane, and it just doesn't fit. It's like they're trying to pick up where they left off. It doesn't fit. But so I've seen previews though. They've been doing live shows where they're playing just their screamy stuff. So again, we've seen that there are fans that like that stuff. So it's popular, and seen a lot of clips of it. And I guess Ollie's doing a good job of screaming and all that after all these years. So
yeah, right. You still got that in him.
Yeah, so I guess he sounds good. I'm just hoping they don't get any ideas and start going away from what they've done. We both kind of like where they've gone, and so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But of course, we're not here to talk about Bring Me the Horizon today. We are here to talk of the Cleveland ex-Roadrunner fame band, Chimaira. Just one of those bands that has kind of been around my whole life, that they've a little like Mushroomhead, which we went over last season. It's very similar with, they were super popular here in Cleveland, and then they got signed and went on many tours and those type of things, but never really caught on like mainstream, outside of Cleveland. Now they've both have, followings and those type of things, but I feel like their biggest days were in the Cleveland area. But anyway, let's get into it. Mr. H, what do you have about Chimaira?
First, I wanted to say, I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Chimaira or Mushroomhead got bigger nationally? I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, in all honesty.
I just wondered your opinion.
They've always kind of felt like the same trajectory. Like they were super huge here. Yeah. Definitely different types of music. So you get different fan bases, probably, with crossover for sure.
Sure.
But both got signed. Yeah. They both got signed, but that's a good question. I honestly don't know which band technically was bigger.
I don't know. I've struggled with that. I don't know. It's not like it's some rivalry or something. I just wondered, like, this band was more faster tracked than Mushroomhead. Mushroomhead took longer to get to the national stage than these guys did. But anyway, so let's back up and talk about that.
Mushroomhead has they have like twice the number of listeners on Spotify now. I don't know what that means. That's today. Right. I don't know if ever.
Yeah. Right. I wonder, like, album sales wise, like, that's kind of more what I was going, like, what sold more kind of nationally. But yeah, today, Mushroomhead, but Chimaira has been dormant for, a long time.
True. So yeah, true.
Mushroomhead has kept putting out albums. There's debate on how good they are, but they've been in the consciousness and keep going and putting out new stuff. Or Chimaira.
So it looks like Mushroomhead is the answer. Estimated sales for Mushroomhead are over 2 million albums total.
Nice.
And Chimaira is just over 1 million in sales. So again, a tough thing is, the CD and the album sales have not really been the same. Plus, like you said, Mushroomhead still is releasing new material, even with not really most of the same members, but they are still using the name and releasing new stuff.
Yep.
Chimaira hasn't released anything in a long time. So
yeah, they haven't. And Mushroomhead also started probably 5 years earlier than Chimaira did.
Right.
So I mean, that makes a difference. But anywho, yeah, that's it was just an interesting thing that popped in my head, and I'm like, I've often wondered that, and I don't really know the answer. I just wondered what just opinion wise. But formed in Cleveland in August of 1998, Mushroomhead's 1993, with Mark Hunter being the only member on every album. The band came together at kind of at different levels, different members coming and going, before landing on Mark Hunter vocalist Rob Arnold on guitars, Chris Spicuzza keyboard, Andals Herrick on drums, and Jim LaMarca on bass, and Jason Hager on the other guitar. That he was soon replaced by Matt DeVries when Jason Hager had a child. So Jason Hager was also most recently just in Spineshank with that child, I think, like in the band also. And he just recently left Spineshank, and that was like 2 months ago. I think the last
Yeah.
show
Yep.
Spineshank played was here, and then he left the band that weekend, I guess. So anyway, thought that was kind of interesting. They performed Dead Inside on farmclub.com show, if you remember that one. I believe it was hosted by like Matt Pinfield, I think.
Something like
But
that. Yeah.
that was a really really cool show. I wish there were still shows out there like that now where you could see some of these up and coming bands playing live. I know HBO Reverb did some of that stuff too with like Disturbed, and I think I saw like Seven Dust on Farm Club, Chimaira, like a bunch of other bands in there. Incubus, I'm sure, played there a bunch of times. But yeah, I wish shows like that were still around, even if they were on late at night. But I'm also sure it probably costs a lot to produce, and they had to, I'm sure, pay the bands to do it, even though they're probably most of them would do it for exposure. But anyway, it was a cool time to have shows like that out there that you can watch your favorite metal bands perform on a show. Um, they were already involved with A&R guy Tom Hazert, who is a longtime friend of Chris Spicuzza, and he's found quite a few bands and worked with a lot of different major acts along the way. But he started shopping their EP demo around, kind of gaining major label interest, and subsequently they got signed to Roadrunner Records after the Farm Club performance and them kind of checking them out. So in 2000 they released an EP, that EP that we were talking about called This Present Darkness. It was very raw with kind of heavy new metal vibe to it and sound. The title track, "This Present Darkness," was especially good. It's one reason we're not going to rate this one, but I wanted to mention it because it's kind of where it started. And there are also two of these songs were re-recorded and appear on the first album. Painting the White to Gray, and Sphere are those two songs. So um, then in 2001, so the very next year, once they signed to Roadrunner, they they recorded and put out their first album, Pass Out of Existence, which came out on October 2nd of 2001. 14 songs on here. Our old buddy Mud Rock, Mr.
Mud Rock.
Murdoch, produced this. Um, Again, they would from the Farm Club performance they signed, and this album kind of had a much more polished sound than the EP. Um, They also used heavier like electronics and 7-string guitars. I'm like, 7-string guitars, man. The fingers you'd have to play 7-string guitars. Oh my goodness. Um, but they changed that on the next album, and kind of OG fans weren't real happy with the new polished sound apparently on this album, as opposed to the EP. And Roadrunner kind of didn't really have high hopes for it and didn't promote the album well at all. Some shows they played during this time after this first album came out was a very difficult time for the band because they were really sparsely attended. So they had a rough go of it, on the road for this album. Kind of more regionally, outside of Cleveland. Obviously, they always drew well in Cleveland, um, but this one still kind of has a new metal vibe with the electronics and the clean vocals, like Split and Taste My. Um, but it's mostly heavier than all kind of the new metal branded bands, in my opinion. But it's also considered less heavy than the future Chimaira releases. So this kind of isn't really what the band was going to end up being, and it just didn't seem to work kind of right off the bat with Roadrunner. So I think they kind of did their thing with Roadrunner and moved on, but they did pretty well with Roadrunner also eventually. Like their talent kind of showed through. Um, Mark Hunter called the extra electronics kind of ear candy that they would kind of streamline off and later releases. Like it was still there, but it wasn't as present as it is on this album. There's also a guest appearance by Stephen Carpenter of the Deftones playing guitar on Rizzo on here, which is pretty cool for like a debut album.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty neat. But there was definitely a pretty big buzz around this band locally, and it kind of seemed like it popped up out of nowhere. Like they started in '98, and in 2000 they had their EP out. So really, in like 18 months, they kind of got together, got their band sorted out, recorded an EP, and they got real popular real fast. Like we were talking about Mushroomhead, and like it took them, a little while. There was a different kind of buzz around them, but like these guys, like just getting signed to Roadrunner alone was like 2.5 years into their existence. Like that's pretty quick. So, but yeah, they definitely kind of popped up, and there was a lot of buzz in the area around them. I remember pretty vividly. So, um, there wasn't kind of that underground buildup really. It just kind of happened. So
Hmm.
my favorites on this album are Dead Inside, Severed, and Lumps. Um, no skippers really. This is kind of a solid but not great album in my opinion. Original fans may have been unhappy with it, but I liked it and the original EP. I liked them both, and neither one of them are the sound that they'd kind of be known for coming up. So, but I had this B rated B, or we're gonna rank 7 albums of theirs, um, all of their full albums actually in their catalog. I have this as a B, solid B, and number 5. So I don't have a lot of low end stuff with this band. I generally like them as a rule almost, that I just like them. So I like some much more than others, but I have this one kind of near the bottom, and it's still pretty good. So I have this number 5 and a B. What did you think of Pass Out of Existence?
Yeah, pretty good stuff. I liked it pretty much right away. In my circles, we were, like tossing this album around. We liked it. We were going to see this band here and there back in the early 2000s. One fun story, I ran into a couple of the guys and met them like really early on. So it was cool to me. So it's funny. I was really into this band that was called Il Nino at the time. I don't know if you
Yes.
were ever into them.
Yep.
They had released,
Still around.
yeah, they are still around. I don't really like much of their new stuff, but
Yeah.
they released an album around now. It was the Revolucion, like their biggest. I think I don't know that it was their. It may have been their debut like album, but so anyway, that was like a band I really liked. Not a lot of people did. So I had a T-shirt of Il Nino, and I was down in the flats. There used to be a B-Dubs down there, BW3, right down the street from the Odeon, of which I was there working for Switched, which I've told you about before that I was really into. So I was getting
Yes.
B-Dubs, and while I was ordering food and waiting for my wings, Jim LaMarca and I believe one of the guitarists, but I didn't know them well enough, but I knew Jim enough by look to see him, and he came up. He's like, "Oh, that's a sweet shirt. We're actually friends with these guys." So we were sitting and hanging out with them for a little bit. So I thought that was cool. They were super nice, like obviously pretty local, but again, I knew they were signed. So to me, being a 19-year-old kid, like, oh, these guys are so cool. They just got signed, and all this stuff. So super cool. Cool guys. So really was into them at this time. So this album I really liked at the time. Now, obviously, listening to everything, it doesn't quite hold up as well as some of their other stuff coming up. So yeah, I agree with you. There's not really a whole lot of skippers on this, but I do like quite a few moments on it. They don't do a whole lot of things that they do better later.
Hmm.
They use the vocals a little better later too. They're really the only singing parts of this is really on like Split. They do a little melody in it, but I do like later on that they do a little bit more with the melody, a little bit more like with the guitar soloing instead of the just straight up riffs. There are some killer riffs on this, though. Again, I think that's kind of what stands out with this band for me is the riffing that they do, and that'll be a lot of what I talk about in all these albums. Definitely love the riffs. Some of them are just like disgusting, like so good. But I like Let Go. I like Dead Inside, Severed, the title track, the aforementioned Split. I like as well. the song Rizzo, as you mentioned, with Stephen Carpenter from the Deftones on it. A lot of if it feels long, right? 14 songs. It's quite a bit. I know that last track
The
is
14-minute last
yeah
track almost. Yeah,
yeah
it's there's some good parts of that one. Like I wouldn't say it's a skipper, but there's just a lot of
yeah.
noise in there that's really not necessary. But
Right. So this one was kind of the hardest one to rank for me because it definitely I think is better than some of the later stuff, but it definitely doesn't touch a lot of what's coming here in the next couple albums. So I actually landed in the same place as you. I had it B minus, but I do have it at number 5. Again, really good stuff on here. Not a lot of skippers. I just really think that this, like many other bands, it's their first real, dipping their toes into the whole getting signed and going through all that. I really think it was so early on, like you mentioned, with the demo to this, that I don't really think they had a chance to build their sound yet. So they had some work to do, I feel like, and they definitely did it. But this isn't bad by any means, but definitely number 5. I feel like that's a solid place for it, and a B minus for me.
all right. Onward we go. Like these guys stayed busy. They
Yeah.
put out albums every couple years, and there's going to be lineup changes. There's going to be all kind of stuff going on. They're still putting out albums every 2 years. So props to them for that. You didn't have to wait long to get new material from Chimaira. The Impossibility of Reason comes out on May 13th, 2003. 12 songs on this one. This is produced by Ben Schigel back home at Spider Studios in Strongsville, Ohio. Um, I'm pretty sure, like Jim LaMarca, Ben Schigel, and my girlfriend at the time, they all went to high school together. My girlfriend's like the same age, a few years younger than me, but same age as these guys, and kind of knew who these guys were. So, but really, before they got popular, we were done. So anyway, but I remember her talking about these dudes. So it's funny I remembered their names. But anyway, back home, they're recording it in Strongsville, Ohio. Ben Shiggle's really done some great things at that studio. So they use 6-string guitars instead of the 7-string guitars, kind of resulting in more clarity and power is what they were looking for. The 7-string they were playing in drop A, like the 6 strings they were in drop C. So it kind of heavier, but maintains the melodic side of the debut a little bit, but heavier for sure. Mark Hunter said with the new album, we with this new album, we give the listener a feeling like they can't breathe, like the songs continuously pound you. The breakdowns in the songs don't go all soft, but stay on a heavy level, and that's exactly what he said, and that rings so true to me. I'm like, I couldn't say it any better than that. So I was like, I gotta just quote him on that one. So that's very on point there. Um, less electronics, kind of more to enhance the music than drive it on this one. But this is a great album, absolutely great album. I don't love every song, but most of it I do love. I have a whole bunch of favorites. I just couldn't stop writing them down as I was going along, right?
Yeah.
So it was tough. Power Trip, Down Again, Pure Hatred, Crawl. I absolutely love Crawl so much. Stig Murder, Eyes of a Criminal, Overlooked. I mean, it's pretty much starts from track 4, and like that whole middle chunk of it, I just absolutely love it. Like it's so good. There's no skippers on this one. I have this one as just an A. Again, I don't absolutely love every song. There's nothing I'd even come close to skipping, but it falls just short of A plus territory for me. And I got this at number 1. This is my favorite album of theirs. I was a little surprised later on at 2 and 3. How it shook out. It's not the way I thought exactly it would shake out, although maybe just flip flopping those two is what ended up happening. But I was still kind of surprised. But this one, there was no doubt. This one I thought was head and shoulders better. This was just up my alley. It has the melody in it. It's not just all heavy. It's got the electronic kind of just mood enhancing, which I like. I just don't like too much of that. And sometimes bands get to a little keyboard heavy, and it's too much. and they're relying too much on that. That was not the case here. It just this whole album has a great feel to it. And you got to give Ben Schiggel some credit for that too, with him producing it. So it sounds great. It just sounds good all around, and I like so many of the songs. So I have this as just a solid A and number one in their catalog. What did you think of the Impossibility of Reason?
Yeah, we're aligned still here. This is fantastic. I remember getting this and it blowing my mind, right? Like to me this was
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
It's a
Yeah,
riff,
like this is
it's
a
a riff
local
machine,
band. Like, oh my
right?
god.
Yeah, it was a riff
Yeah.
machine, and definitely shout out to Ben Schiggel.
Yes.
His band is Switched, right? And I tout them a
Yep.
lot. I've been a big fan of them. I seen them in concert. I was working their merch booth just kind of as a friend of one of my buddies in their management group, whatever. So again, it was fun. Like I think that this is fantastic. It sounds really good, and it felt like more of a band that knew what they wanted to do. It just had the sound of confidence, right? Like just song after song, it's just awesome. I actually love every song off here. To me, it just always has been one of those albums you just throw on and listen to the whole thing. So I could name almost all of them as my favorites. I love the beginning of it. Probably top two songs, I will say Impossibility of Reason, the title track, is probably one of my top two favorite songs that they've ever done. So I guess that shows the variety of this, because you mentioned that you liked everything like 4 and after, and I think 2 is my favorite song off of it. So interesting for sure.
Crawl's my favorite one off of here.
Okay, yeah, Crawl's phenomenal,
and one of my probably top 2 or 3 favorite Chimaira songs. I love Crawl, man, love it.
Yeah. Power Trip, obviously a live staple of theirs. Pure Hatred, I Hate Everyone. Down Again, of course, is great. I said I could name all of these. It's easy. My number one. I think they have 3 killer albums in my opinion, and again, I knew this would be my one, and it's just kind of how far off those other 2 was kind of the only question here.
Yeah.
But Impossibility of Reason is phenomenal. I was wondering if it would still hold up after all these years compared to some of these other ones, and it 100% did. Like there was no question to me. As soon as I put it on, it felt like home again, right? It felt like listening to it back when it came out. I think it holds up great. I think the production is great. The riffs hold up. Again, the only thing with this band is I sometimes the vocals grind on me a little bit. It's a lot of yelling and screaming.
Yeah,
I do like a little bit more melody with the vocals overall, but again, like Mark Hunter's good at what he does. It's just not my thing into the amount that he does it. So again, but I can say that about every album, because obviously Mark Hunter's his vocals are his vocals, right? That's his style.
Right, that's what he does. Yep.
So again, not my thing, but I think the guitars are so good on these albums that to me, that's why I listen to it. So number one, I'm kind of with you. I'm not quite ready to give it an A+, but for this style of music, like I can't think of many albums that I would put up with this, which again, to me it tells a story of just this band has got this hidden gem. Like if anybody out there stumbles on this podcast and have no idea who Chimaira is, if you're a big metalhead, you love guitar riffs, like this one is right down your alley. Every one of these riffs is just phenomenal. So Impossibility of Reason, number one. We are on the same page for the first 2 albums, and a solid A for me as well.
All right. Yep, pretty much aligned on those 2. They did tour with Spineshank and El Nino in Europe for this one too.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting. We were just talking about both of those bands, and they toured with them for this album. All right, so on to self-titled Chimaira, August 9th, 2005. 10 songs on this one. Produced by Ben Schiggel again and Mark Hunter. Mostly written at this point, and from this point forward until the very last album, mostly written by Arnold and Hunter, Rob Arnold and Hunter. So you talked about the guitar riffs. Rob Arnold, my friends, Rob Arnold. Very, very good. Very underrated. Just oh god, just writes some crazy good stuff.
Yeah, he ended up
Um,
in 6 feet under too later on.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yeah. After he left, he sure did.
Yep.
Um, again, I want to give Ben Schigel some more love here. Just really clear, spatial, great production on this one. Just sounds awesome. It really, really sounds awesome. I think I'm even gonna probably say that again here in an album coming up, but
Yep.
man, just sounds amazing. Noticeably heavier with less groove, and kind of less of the new metal stuff on some songs. Very similar to Lamb of God for me on
Yes,
this one.
agreed.
Um, Notable kind of de-emphasis on melodic tracks like Down Again. Like there's nothing on here like that song at all. Nothing Remains was written on the day Dimebag was killed in Columbus, but not specifically about his death. Like obviously, it influenced the song, but it was not written specifically about his death. This is also the only album with Kevin Talley on drums, replacing Anders Herrick, and you may or may not see him again soon. So this is also the final Roadrunner release. Like I said, they just never really kind of worked out with Roadrunner for whatever reason. I'm sure the Impossibility of Reason probably was their best selling album. I haven't looked them up, but it almost had to be. So I'm sure Roadrunner made some money off of them because they did kind of write that album with this is kind of make or break for us, and they just really wrote a banger of an album, and I think it sold a lot of copies. So, but this one is the last Roadrunner release. So my favorites on this one are Save Ourselves, Inside the Horror, Salvation, Pray for All, I like a lot, and Lazarus, man. God, I love Lazarus. Such a killer headphone song, too, Lazarus is masterful. Just a masterfully recorded song. Great song. That's also in my top two or three, easily. Such a great song. Um, no skippers on here at all. Again, this is kind of B plus um, area for me. Maybe A minus, but more B plus. Like Impossibility of Reason is that much more ahead of this one. It's pretty much two levels. But there's some really, really good stuff here. Just not quite as memorable as the Impossibility of Reason for what that was. Again, maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia there. I'm not sure because Impossibility of Reason was just so good, even back then, and it's held up well. So this one didn't really kind of gain any ground on that one. So this one I have at number 3. This was the one that I kind of thought was going to be number 2. I thought these kind of two were pocketed together, but listen to it this time. I found that I still like Impossibility of Reason as much as I did, and this one isn't quite as good as I originally thought it was, although it's still really good. Really good. I'm not saying it's bad, but again, this was B plus number 3 for me for the self-title. What did you think?
Well, we're finally going to mix it up a little bit.
All right,
All right. So, yeah, I like it. I don't like when I think we had one recently where we were 100% the same, and I think it was 3 Days Grace or something like that, where we're like, well, this is exactly the same. That kind of takes
Doors
the
Down.
fun.
Might have been 3 Doors Down.
Or 3 Days Grace, one of them.
Yeah, or maybe both of them.
Maybe both of them, yeah. So, yeah, no, I love this one too. I knew that I would really like this one, but I also, same as like I told you before, I knew there was a top 3. I wasn't sure where they were going to come out for me. Where this kind of ended up is number 2 for me. So this one is my second favorite. And a lot of it is the first song and the last song. And you mentioned Lazarus.
Oh, God.
For me, Nothing Remains is another top couple for me. I love like the breakdown in the middle of it where it goes a little electronic, and I know that that's not necessarily as much your thing, but I love it. I love that song, and I like when it it gets a little bit more melodic in the middle of it with a little bit of the keyboards and stuff going.
That's actually my favorite part of the song.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So in total, not one of my favorite ones on this one, but I do love that section of the song.
Yeah. So you nailed it on Lazarus, dude. That song is incredible,
unbelievable.
That first and that last song are just are amazing. But yeah, I all the way through it's solid. I still like Inside the Horror. I still like Salvation, Comatose, great stuff. Everything you love, Bloodlust. I mean, these songs are phenomenal. Again, after listening to this, it was pretty easy for me that this was my second favorite. Even though I knew that those top three were going to be the conversation in my head, and I had lots of time to ponder it. So, just love this one for sure. But I'm with you. I want to say B plus doesn't really touch to me. Impossibility of Reason is their only really A album. It's really the only one I come back to all the time, right? There, like sometimes I'll come back and want to listen to this, but not as often. So to me, B plus, but it's my solid number two. Just excellent stuff. I mean, again, good from front to back, but has some really memorable moments. Just not as many memorable moments as the Impossibility of Reason. So number two, self-titled Chimaira, B plus.
All right. Yeah, I had that one borderline number two, so we're really not far off on that one too. And we had it rated the same. On to Resurrection, March 6, 2007. Again, every 2 years, just cranking them out. 11 songs on this one. Jason Sukoff produced this one. Not sure why they went away from Spider Studios and Ben Schigel. Thought that was interesting. I wonder, like, maybe I mean, you
No
were
clue.
maybe at this point you may not have been as close to them as you were a couple albums earlier, but yeah, it's just weird. Like, I know Ben Schigel actually did really well for himself and was recording other bands there too, but maybe he was just busy. I don't know. You'd think that this band would have been able to been fit in there somewhere.
Right.
Interesting though. But it still does sound good, but not as good as the last album and the one before it. Does have a bigger drum sound, in my opinion, but I think Andy Sneap was involved with that one. But coming off the last two albums, this one kind of loses me, really. It's heavy and has some moments, but kind of not standout whole songs for me, other than maybe the title track, Resurrection. I do like that one. Um, it isn't bad. It's just there. This one kind of doesn't have any kind of the signature sound. It sounds unrecognizable to me as Chimaira. Like this could be 100 other bands. Like I noted when I was listening to this one. Like it doesn't have that kind of character that they are. So that makes them them. Anders Herrick is back on drums. I did mention that after being involved slightly with the self-titled album in a little bit in kind of writing and just kind of being around, but it kind of reignited his passion to be in this band and create with them. So he is back in, and maybe Andy Sneap did him a solid, like, hey, this dude's back. Let's pump up the drum sound a little bit. But he sounds great on this album, and he does fit with them. Although the songs on this one just to me aren't as distinguishable as Chimaira. Like if I just heard one of them and didn't know it, I'd been like, no, I have no idea who this is. But a lot of the tracks sound similar too, and kind of aren't as distinguishable from the other songs, like kind of variations of sameness for me. It all has a listenability to it as a fan of metal, but that's kind of about all the praise I really have for this album. It's kind of there. Like my favorites are Resurrection. That's it. That's it. I don't have any other favorites. But again, I have no skippers. Nothing really. Nothing I want to skip. It's just nothing that really stands out, other than Resurrection for me. So this one I have just kind of as a middle C. Like it's there. It's all listenable. It's decent. It's metal. It's got everything. It's got the elements in it I like. It's just the songs for me just don't stick with me, and I don't know that I can't really say it's their fault. I guess I don't blame them. This one just doesn't fit with the other two for me for whatever reason. It's just not as memorable. It wasn't then, and it kind of isn't now. I thought maybe I would kind of come around on this one. It's heavy. It sounds good. There's some good riffs, but just not much to remember as great. But again, not bad either. So C number 6 for me, not the bottom, but this is down near the bottom for me. I was not a huge fan of Resurrection, and like I said, they kind of lost me and had to kind of bring me back. So I was like, I want to say I just kind of gave up on them a little bit. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's all they had in them,
Right.
But yeah, they'll be back for me a little bit. but it's just this one just didn't do it for me. What did you think of Resurrection? I had it C, number 6.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Really, the thing that stands out to me is definitely the drums. I feel like Herrick coming back definitely gave them a boost. Drums were great. Um, Overall, though, I'm with you. This feels lackluster. A lot of it to me is like lyrics, and I know you're not as big as a lyric person as me, but I don't know. Like to me, these songs don't sound as meaningful. And again, I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I didn't write them. But to me, it doesn't. Right. There's some skippers for me on this one, and I don't really have any skippers in the first three. And to me, I think that's this album's biggest weakness is it kind of loses itself. Like Resurrection for me is definitely the best song. So you're with me there. Pleasure and Pain and Worthless, I think, are pretty good. To me, track 4, which is titled 6, is where it kind of falls apart for me.
Okay.
Number 1. Let's not. If we're gonna name a track a number, can we keep it consistent?
Can you put 6 and 6?
Is that asking a lot?
It's kind of funny that you said track 4 is called 6, and then you said number 1 right after that. So I'm like, where am I? 6, 4? Oh, I don't know where I am on this album. Funny.
No, it's 6, 7.
It's right, 6, number 1, 6, 7,
right.
Whatever. I don't know. That's funny though. Good stuff.
But the song titled 6 is where it kind of falls apart for me. That
10 minutes long too.
It's just to me it's momentum killer. Like it loses all like momentum that it received. And again, when you put your best song first and then it's just like, this is good, this is okay. After that, Reason to Live is okay, but it's sandwiched between 6 and Killing the Beast, which also I would skip. I don't like that one either. So right in smack in the middle of the album, you basically have complete momentum killers, like a 10-minute track in the middle that just drags on and on and on, and I'm just done with this album at this time. So that's not setting it up for success. There are, I would say, it gets back with End It All and Empire, I think are pretty good songs. So favorites, I would say Resurrection, and I would say End It All and Empire, skipping 6 and Killing the Beast. Overall, I think I like it a little bit more than you. I think there's just one that I like, there's 2 that I like less than this, but there must be one that I think is worse than you think it is. So I'm going to have it at number. Where do I have
worse
this?
Worse than you think it is. Nice.
Yeah, number 5. Or wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, number 5. I had just trying to see all through my scribbles here. So number 5, I had it. You had it number 6. Number 5, and right about with you, like a C plus. There's like 3 albums of theirs that I'm not huge fans of. So this one is, I guess, the best of those, but really only because of those couple songs I like. Overall, not great. Just the production I think doesn't sound the same. Just not as strong stuff overall. So Resurrection, I had number 5 and a C plus.
All right, so you had it 5, I had it 6. 4 is 6, but 6 is actually Killing the Beast. You see what happens here?
You see what happens.
Just make song 6 the number 6, please. Oh my goodness. Anyway, on to The Infection. We don't have that problem there.
Right. Thank goodness.
This is right. Thank goodness. This is back to, April 20th, 2009 for this one. Another 2 years, 10 songs again. Ben Schigel, once again, back home in Cleveland at Spider Studios. And
Thank
guess
God.
what? It sounds killer again. Oh. So, big surprise there. Back to Arnold and Hunter also writing most of the album, which is also good. I love the main clean guitar riff on Venom Inside. It does kind of go off into almost death metal land instead of the groovy stuff I like so much from them before. But that's back again on track 2. So it's all good, but that one starts off really good, and I love that main riff, but then it just kind of goes off the rails a little bit for me as far as the first track. There's a bonus track on this one called Conviction. Convictions, sorry, which is a State of Conviction cover, which features J-Man from Mushroomhead. I wish they had kind of done more collaboration. I
Yeah.
really do, because they're both metal bands. They are a lot different, but it would have been cool to see them do more collaborating since they're both living in the Cleveland area, and around here quite a bit. So I think it would have been pretty easy to do, but I think this is the only case in that I found that they did collaborate is on the one song. It's just a bonus track. It is a good song though. I didn't listen to this one much when it came out until recently. It is better than I remember it being and gave it credit for. Like I said, they lost me. I didn't. I don't think I even knew this album came out, even though the Cleveland circles, and I was still into local music and stuff at the time. I didn't even know this one came out. It just kind of went past me. My friends, nobody I knew was listening to them anymore at this point. Probably even after the first three, they didn't even get to Resurrection. But for me, they just kind of fell off. And then now, I listened to it this week and I like it a lot more than I did. They had a cool metal briefcase deluxe fan edition that they released too. That I'd like to own one of those. That would be pretty cool. I never knew about it. Like, it came in this cool silver briefcase, has like laminate in there and a live show and on a DVD, like all kinds of stuff. I was like, man, I never knew about that. And I guess they only made a few hundred of them, and the first, I think 75 or 100 were signed by the band. So I'm like, man, that'd be cool to snag one of those somewhere along the way. Anyway, my favorites on this one, I did like this one a lot, were Frozen in Time, Secrets of the Dead, Impending Doom, Broken Glass, and Try to Survive. That groove, man, that groove's back right there. So, like I said, it wasn't on the Venom Inside, but it came back. So, right on Frozen in Time, the second track. And then, like I said, Try to Survive, I really liked a lot. Again, no skippers on this one, but this is a more emphatic no way. Like the last one, you mentioned a couple of them, 4, 6, 6, 4, whatever.
Yep.
But those aren't great songs. The last one I just kind of let play as background music. It lost me back then, and I'm listening to it now. This is Resurrection, not this album, and I just kind of like let it play. So that's why I didn't really have any skippers. But there's definitely some stuff on there that's not as good. But on this one, no skippers, easy. Heart of It All, the song Heart of It All, the last one, again, is too long, but it is a good song. So 14 minutes and 52 seconds. What is it with them and putting 17, 15, 14, 13-minute tracks at the end of the albums? I don't understand it. But anyway, that's other than that one just being too long, I wouldn't skip it because it's still a really good song. I have this one rated as a solid B, just like I had the first album. Although I do like this one a lot more than Resurrection for sure, but it's not nearly as good as The Impossibility of Reason, and it's not really nearly as good as Self-Titled, even though I had this as a B and that one B plus. But there's kind of a bigger kind of chasm there. But I did like this one more than Pass Out of Existence, which I had at number 5. So this one I have at number 4, but I do have it as a solid B, just like This Present Darkness. So what did you think of The Infection?
Uh, I like this one a lot. This one
Okay.
was a surprise for me.
Okay.
I haven't listened to it a lot, but I remember listening to it around when it came out, and I knew that I liked it. But for some reason, I don't know if I just was past this. I don't know. I remember liking it. So again, I knew that I would like it more today visiting it, for the podcast. So I really do like it. You nailed it when they finally got their groove back, right? Like it feels groovy like The Impossibility of Reason was, right?
Like Stella. They got their groove back.
Exactly like Stella. So this one feels a lot Pantera adjacent, right? Just because of that groove.
Yes.
It obviously Chimaira doesn't have the hooks of like a Pantera, right? Obviously we know that, but it's really heavy. It's groovy and heavy. I think this is probably their heaviest album in my opinion. I think it's super dark, it's super heavy, but yet groovy, and I like it. I don't think that the lyrics are very good. I've kind of gone past that where what we're talking about is almost not important, but these riffs are just tasty. On this, just I don't know. I like I will say though I don't love the lyrics, I will say this is probably my favorite Mark Hunter album with the way that he sounds, because it sounds like unhinged to me, right? It sounds like and maybe this is the production of it, but the vocals just sound really ferocious, like really, really, really good. So I really like the vocals better than anything else. Great songs. You mentioned the Venom Inside, man. I love that riff so much. Secrets of the Dead is awesome. Frozen in Time is really, really good. I'm not a huge fan of the heart of it all, but you're right. It probably a lot of it is the length of it. But yeah, I really like this album, and I was finding that I was enjoying just kind of having it on in the background and listening to the guitar of it. And to me, it made me want to go back and listen to it again. So I've actually listened to this album more than any of the other albums, just because I feel like it's untapped for me, and I feel like this is one that I would go back to more often. So for me, this is number 3. Really, really like this one. Probably B plus. They're all kind of bunched together here. I knew that it was going to be towards the top for me, and I didn't really know how you felt about it, but to me, it just felt like the best that they have done in a while. Which you have an open number that's pretty high coming up here,
Yes,
so
I do.
we definitely have a difference of an opinion here, because I only have my bottom 2 slots left. So
All
I'm
right.
interested to hear what the one you like the best, because I'll need to go back
Point
and
it
listen to it
out.
again. But this is number 3 for me. I love The Infection. Usually we don't like Infections, but in this case, I love The Infection. So number 3 for me, and a B. We'll just give it a solid B.
Solid B. All right. So we were looking for it. We found it.
Age of Heck.
The Age of Heck. The Age of HE double hockey sticks. Boy. Anyway, August 16th, 2011, 12 songs. Again, Ben Schigel, another headphone absolute gem of an album. So good, man. So this dude really knows what he's doing. I've gained even more respect for him listening to this catalog, because, man, this album sounds amazing in my ear holes. Lamarca, Spikuza, Herrick, they all left. They all left a couple months the months preceding this album, which left Mark Hunter to do keyboards and sing, guitarist Rob Arnold to play guitar and play bass, and Ben Schigel himself to play drums. So this is basically a Hunter, Arnold, and Schigel album only. So written and recorded by those 3 guys. In addition to killer production work, Ben Schigel, who is a drummer, does some excellent work on drums here. Excellent work. This album gives me Machine Head vibes, like on Time Is Running Out. I really like that sort of stuff, as I've talked about many times. The vocal mix of clean vocals and harsh vocals, great riffs, like very Machine Head like. I feel like too, this album, it kind of makes me sad, because I feel like this band should have carried on sounding just like this. Like, I think another album of what they did here, would have had some huge songs on it. I'm talking really maybe the biggest that they've done on it, if they were able to put together another album with these 3 guys. You can hear all the framework there. If they could just hone in a little more and write more songs that sound like this. It's Chimaira, and what I loved about The Impossibility of Reason, but updated in a heavier style. Like, I really, really like this album. Born in Blood has like a Slayer feel to it. And what a really banger song. Again, this is another album I should have given even more time to. I did listen to this quite a bit when it came out, because they kind of got me back with The Inspection. And then this one came out, and I got it, and I liked it right away. But it got lost along the way. Like I was telling you right before, this is one of those bands that just, even though they're local and I do really like them, they just kind of get lost in the shuffle. And I go years without really listening to them. Really kind of, you know, if they would have come out with another album, I kind of am forced to revisit them. But then they did after this one, but it's just not a very good one. And then there's nothing since 2013 from this band.
Yeah.
But they are back together. Spacuzza, Lamarca's back. Rob Arnold's back, who he left after this album too. But while he's still in this band, and while Hunter and Arnold are still writing songs here, this is still some really, really good stuff. It's almost like they cleared out the stuff that kind of they didn't want to do, and they just wrote what they knew or what just the two of them liked without thinking about other personnel. They just wrote what the two of them liked, and it's fantastic. Like I do really, really like this album. I had this one at 3. I'm listening to it all through. I listened to it a second time, and I'm like, I like this song and this song and this song and this song. Like there was so many songs I liked. I'm like, what am I holding on to the self-titled album for when, I mean, this one, like, it's just song after song after song. I just liked it. So it passed up the self-titled one for me. Again, it was really close. I had self-titled at 2 and this one at 3. And I just listened to it a second time through. I'm like, man, I've forgotten how much I really, really like this album. Great solo work in Scapegoat. There's just killer stuff all over the place here. My favorites are Clockwork, Losing My Mind, Time Is Running Out, Beyond the Grave, Trigger Finger, Scapegoat. These are all great songs. Like just so many of them. Again, Skippers, nope, nothing here at all. A really solid album. B plus. Like I said, there was razor thin between this and self-titled, but I had this at number 2. Back to some clean vocals mixed in, which I liked a lot. And again, I feel like it's a mix of the Impossibility of Reason with the self-titled, with some Machine Head sprinkled in there magically. I really like where this album is at, and I really wish, especially after I listened to the next album, I really wish they would have recorded another album just like this one. And maybe I'm ranking this one on potential of what they could have been, but I do really like this album. I couldn't believe how much I liked it. I didn't think this. I thought maybe this might make it to 4, but I actually have it at 2. B plus, maybe even A minus range. But again, it's not that close to Impossibility of Reason. I can't put it in the A category, but it's probably as close as it can get to an A without being an A minus at least. Age of Hell, B plus, number 2. What did you think? And I know it ain't good.
Well, I don't want to say
but
that it's
I guess not good is that's not fair to say because
no,
we don't know
no,
what your rating is. So.
Yeah, no, it's good. I only have one album of theirs that I just really wasn't a fan of, and that's not this one. So, so this one again, it didn't really stand out to me, I guess, like it did for you. But I'm interested I'm interested in listening to it again now. I've only listened to it one time ever. Like I've never listened to it other than the one time. Did you listen
to this one in headphones? I know you're a headphone guy. I don't know if you listen to everything in headphones.
I do.
Man, this one, oh my god.
Yeah,
even in my work headphones, which are cheap. Yeah. This sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's so good.
It sounds good. I think all of their stuff sounds really, really good for the most part. For the most part, I think they're well produced. The guitars always sound good.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was. Just I guess nothing really stood out on this one for me. I only really had a few songs that, like, I after I was listening to it, I really liked a few of the songs. I really liked "Year of the Snake," which "Born in Blood" is my favorite song off here. I think to me. It's hands down, but I do like Year of the Snake. I do like Scapegoat. I think for the reasons that you said, I think that's got killer guitar work.
Oh, gosh, so good.
Between that though, to me, like nothing really stood out. And again, that's for me. That's all this really was. It's not bad. It sounds really, really good. Just didn't have a whole lot stand out for me. So, for me, I just now again, and I feel like we've done this before where we listen to these, we hear what each other says, and when there's that big of a gap, it's like, well, I'm gonna go listen to this again. I'm gonna,
man. Yep.
Yeah. So for me, it was number 6. Again, it's not bad. I had it basically right alongside of Resurrection for me. Again, the highs were really high, and then after that, it was just kind of like it didn't really stand out to me. So I'll listen to it again, but as of right now, I have it number 6. Uh, and I kind of wish this would have been the end of it, to be honest. But
Yeah, same here for sure.
because then I would have said, I had to rank them 1 to 6, but they're all good, right? But unfortunately, we had to rank number 7. So
yeah, and it had to be the last one.
I know.
Very sad. But again, I know I mentioned earlier about an album that didn't really sound like them, that was kind of nondescript as far as their sound goes. And then I'm talking about how much I kind of like the Machine Head that's sprinkled in here. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth. But there's not as much Machine Head in here that this to me sounds like Machine Head.
Yeah.
It sounds like Chimaira, but with little elements in there, like of bands like Machine Head that I like a lot. Enough of it to where I'm like that. It kind of elevates it a little bit for me, where I'm like, man, there's some good stuff here. But I'd be surprised if you listen to it a couple more times and see if it changes at all. But the top 3 of this band, I'm gonna try to make a vow to myself these top 3 albums before we get to the bad one. That I'm gonna try to listen to them more, especially now that they're back and they are coming here. Like Globe Iron, they're playing a live show here in Cleveland.
Yeah, we should try to go to that. We should try to go.
Yeah, we should. They played a Chimaira Christmas, which is, I don't know, they did that every year between Christmas and New Year's. They would have a show at the Odeon or at the Agora locally, and it was kind of a homecoming show, and they did their own thing. Mushroom Head always had the Halloween show. Chimaira always had Chimaira Christmas, and that was always their kind of biggest show of the year. Well, they did one again last year for the first time in 12 years, or it's been a long, maybe longer. Been a long time. Maybe they did they have a reunion one in 2017 or 18? I think they had one in 2020 that they canceled because of COVID, but they did have, I think, a reunion one. But anyway, in looking at that set list, I wasn't a huge fan of that set list. So I would hope if we do go that they do play something, play other songs off of albums I really like a lot more than like the ones they played. So that kind of made me sad in looking at that. Although I watched some videos of that because it's their most recent live performance and they did sound amazing. So it sounded really good. It looked really cool. They had this weird kind of beamish like framework in the background, like you were building walls, but they weren't completely built. And then they had the Chimaira logo like kind of attached to them. It was really cool looking. But again, that was sold out, but it was super expensive. It was like $80 a ticket. It was really expensive. Like
for the
show,
Christmas show at the Agora.
Okay. Yeah, for a place that normally sells tickets for 30, 40, $50, 55 maybe at the high end. These were like 80 plus, but they sold it out. So who am I to complain? But I didn't go to that one, but maybe we'll go see them at the Globe Iron. But I almost hope they have a show or two in between there.
Yeah.
But anyway, really like that album. So on to 2013, July 30th, 11 songs here, Crown of Phantoms. Ben Schigel, it still sounds really good, but this one actually kind of isn't up to his usual lofty standards on this one. It's a little too loud and unbalanced and kind of lacking the spatial presence of before of the other albums that he's done. Like it doesn't really have that. It's not like it sounds so good in my headphones. Like I didn't get that at all on this one. Like it sounds good, but it just doesn't sound that good as good as those did. I don't know if they just didn't spend as much time on it. But this is like a Mark Hunter solo album. This is Mark Hunter and 5 other dudes. Right? Yep. So no more Rob Arnold. He left. Ben Schigel's not on this one either. He's not playing drums on here. They got another drummer that I'm not even going to mention these other 5 guys. They're not in the band anymore. Anyway, they all left within 2 years after this album coming out. So they kind of played some shows, and that was about it. But the songs for me on this one are just kind of meh without Rob Arnold to help write them. It's still really heavy and listenable, but the songs they aren't memorable. So more of kind of a metalcore approach here than a groove metal one. Kind of night and day between the last album and this one in terms of song quality for me. I mean, obviously, if I have this one at the bottom at 7 and that one at 2, it's pretty much goes without saying it's night and day. But the song quality on that one, on Age of Hell, is just leaps and bounds ahead of where this one's at. It's kind of an eclectic mix of styles. It doesn't really have much identity. Again, kind of in the same vein as Resurrection, sort of in a way, which was kind of more generic too. But that one still has Arnold's riffs and guitar work in it, even though I didn't really, the songs weren't as memorable to me on Resurrection, but it still had Arnold in it. This one doesn't. So it doesn't even have that kind of signature part of it anymore. Mark Hunter did say, though, he was in a much better place band wise with this one than he was 2 years earlier on the last album. I just feel like on this one, he's kind of missing his songwriting partner. He's just
Yeah.
missing the Rob Arnold part of it. Um, but I also wonder what he would have said 2 years from after this one when all these other dudes left again. Where was he then? So I don't know if he would say the same thing at that point. But he did say he was in a happier place when this one came out. So my favorites on this one, I have one, and that is No Mercy. The song No Mercy is the second track. I do like that one. Skippers, honestly, I could skip or listen to a bunch of these songs depending on my mood. Um, there's just not much here that hooks me in. Like I said, it doesn't even have Rob Arnold's guitar work. It has a different guitar player that's not really playing like Rob Arnold. I think I called him Tom Arnold. I didn't mean to.
Tom Arnold.
I know, right? Dummy. I kind of knew I was going to do that, but anyway, because I just put Arnold everywhere in here. It was either that
Yeah,
or I was going to
right.
try to talk like Arnold, but so Rob Arnold, it didn't have Rob Arnold on it, so it doesn't have his sound either. So it's just, I don't know, not much that hooks me. C minus. I didn't want to give it a D. I don't know, maybe because they're local. I'm just going easy on them. I didn't want to put them in the D range, but this is as close to D as it can get without being one. So C minus. Number 7, still not terrible. Not a terrible album. I'm not gonna be like, God, this album sucks. I chucked it out the window. It wasn't that bad, but the worst of the 7 though, pretty easily, without the songwriting and guitar work of Rob Arnold. So again, I didn't want to name a bunch of skippers. Just I could skip or listen to most of this album except for No Mercy, depending on how I was feeling that day. So number 7, C minus. What did you think of Crown of Phantoms?
Yeah, really for me, there's 3 really good songs on here, and the rest I could give or take. No Mercy, I really liked. Spineless, I really liked, and Wrapped in Violence. Those are the 3 that I really, really liked. Other than that, though, to me, it doesn't sound the same. Like I feel like I can tell that it's different, and Arnold's not playing the riffs, and to me, it just feels a little bit different. But yeah, not bad. Again, not bad, and I wouldn't give it a D either. But it is definitely their worst, and I think it's not really that close. I think we agree there. It just sounds off. Like it like again, it's just, there's like remnants of them, like their groove and stuff. Sometimes it's in there, sometimes
Yeah.
it's not. It's almost hard. Again, you can tell it's different people. Like it doesn't have the
Yes.
cohesiveness as basically all their other stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like I said, it has some standout tracks. Like it's not all but there's a couple good ones that I will come back to. I feel like this is one where you just kind of take those couple songs, throw it on a playlist, and like you're covered. You're good. Don't need to listen to the whole thing. I may probably never go back and listen to the whole thing ever again. But to me, I'm with you. Like a solid C. You know, it's not bad. It's listenable. It's got some high points for me, but to me, like the lows and the mids kind of all mixed together. So it's just not real memorable, I think, what it comes down to. So Crown of Phantoms for me, easily number 7 and a C, a solid C for me.
All right. So on to our overall rankings. I just mentioned Crown of Phantoms. We both did. We both have that at number 7. I have Resurrection at number 6. I have Pass Out of Existence, the first album, the debut, at number 5. The Infection at number 4. The self-titled album Chimaira at number 3. That was just barely edged out for me by The Age of Hell at number 2. And number 1 with a bullet and not really close, The Impossibility of Reason. It's impossible to rank that anything other than number 1 in this catalog. So, what are your overall rankings, sir?
All right, my number 7, as is yours, is Crown of Phantoms. Number 6, Age of Hell. That would be our big disparagement here. So I will listen to that some more. Try to get that closer to where you are, which I probably will. I think maybe I missed something there, but we'll find it. We'll figure it out. Number 5, I had Resurrection. Number 4, the first album, Pass Out of Existence. Number 3, I had The Infection. Number 2, self-titled Chimaira. And equal to you, their number 1 and best album, The Impossibility of Reason. Number 1. I am bummed that I missed that. They did the 20th anniversary of that. They did that at the Agora in whatever 21 or whatever it was. So disappointed I missed that one because they did play that whole album of Impossibility of Reason.
Did they?
Yeah, 2021, but it
2023 or whatever, 20 years.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. The first album was 2021, so you're right. 2023. It didn't make sense 2021 because of COVID, but
yeah, and maybe they did it. They did do it earlier. I'm not sure, but they yeah, I'm sad I missed that too. I wish I would have kind of known about that. I don't ever even remember hearing that happened. So until
it is. Now, yeah, it was May 13th, 2023. So you're right. It was actually 20 years after. It was at the Agora. Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna have to look for YouTube of that one. I bet they do a good job. They have some really good live clips out there of them playing. So hopefully I can find some from that show. It was easy enough to find the 2025 Chimaira Christmas stuff. It's out there. It sounds good. Somebody filmed the whole thing. It's like an hour and, I don't know, 20 minutes long or something. I don't know how they kind of stood in the crowd and filmed the whole thing, but I guess they did. Yeah. So, or maybe the first row, behind the floor. But anyway, sounds really cool. So yeah, I'll have to look for that one. But I haven't seen this band as many times as I thought I probably should have back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe I was just too busy going to national shows and really when they kind of took off, they did a lot of national tours with bigger bands. They toured with Flair and God Hates Us All. I mean, they really were kind of a band that some of the bigger names really liked and they got on tours with them, and I don't even think it was because they were label mates in some cases. I just think that it was a band that other bands that came through here and heard them were fans of and played with them on tours. Ozfest. Played with them at festival shows when those were getting started. Rocking the Range. Maybe so. They did tour with those bands, so they didn't play here locally quite as nearly as many times as like Mushroomhead did.
Right.
Mushroomhead you can see here 6, 8, 10 times a year, even when they're kind of starting to sign a major label. They still would tour regionally a lot, so you could see them in Massillon or Columbus or Detroit or Toledo or just around the area. So not to mention like at 2 or 3 different venues here in Cleveland too. So they were just around more. So I think I've seen Chimaira maybe 4 or 5 times, probably way less than you have. So
well, I seen them all a bunch for the first like 4 or 5 years.
I guess if you're working the merch table, it's pretty much every show that they were at, they were playing, you were at and watching at least, right?
Yeah. The last time I saw them was that Music is a Weapon tour when they did at the Tower City.
Tower City. Yeah.
That's the last time I seen them, and that had to have been like 08, 09, something like that. So it's been a while, like 15 years since I've seen them. So it's been a long time.
I think of what was it? Didn't they play? I think they played like Tattoo the Earth. I think they played that one, which was
with Slipknot. I think.
Yeah, with Slipknot.
Yep.
So, and then I remember seeing him at that Music as a Weapon. Also, didn't they? They played outside on the side stage, right? Not in the pavilion, but on the side stage. And I think like Crooked X played there.
Yep.
And who else was at that one?
In Flames.
Lacuna Coil played that one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good stuff. There was a lot of bands I liked. I remember that show pretty well. And I think that's the last time I saw them too. And Tar City Amphitheater's been gone for a long time. So.
Yeah.
So, but they have been too. So it's not like, I really had a lot of chances after that to see them.
Right.
I want to say it was Age of Hell, right?
Yeah,
I
it
think
sounds
so.
right. Yeah, I don't
Somewhere
know.
around there. But anyway, that was one. That was the last time I saw them too. It's so funny, all these shows that we were at together but never knew each other. But
Yeah.
we're not together. We were at the same show but didn't know each other. But
so they did the Sounds of the Underground tour too.
Maybe I was thinking getting that one confused with Tattoo of the Earth, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, I remember
Sounds
seeing
of the
them.
Underground.
Yeah, I remember seeing them with Open for Slipknot too on one of those kind of festival gigs where I want to say like Fear Factory was on it, and I can't remember for sure.
It might have been Tattoo of the Earth. I remember Slipknot making everybody kind of, how they want everybody to get down, during the one song. They want everybody to squat down and jump up. That was like the Slipknot thing to do during the one song, the whole pit. And I remember like my brother and I were standing there, and like we were the first like row of people that didn't get down because there's always some like near the back. And I remember them kind of yelling at us like, "Get down, get down!" And we just kind of stood there with our arms crossed, like, "We ain't doing it, man."
Pass.
Plus, we'd seen them a million times. We had already done all that. We're like, "This is dumb. We're not doing this." So we're just gonna stand here and defy you. You will not tell us what to do. But I think Chimaira was at that one too. I'm pretty sure, but I'd have to look it up. But anyway, I wish I had seen them more back in the day when I really did like them. I think I only saw them once for when Impossibility Reason was out, which is kind of sad because I know they played a bunch of shows around here. I think I only saw them once, maybe twice during that time, which kind of sucks. But anywho, that's regrets, but we can rectify that. I can go see him again here. Maybe the Globe Iron. We'll check that out. See what's going on around then. I think it's in October.
I think that's you sent it over. I think that's right. So
I was just surprised. I was like, I'm on Spotify and it said upcoming show. It said Globe Iron Cleveland. I'm like, what? When did this happen? So I almost expected another Chimaira Christmas show now that the main guys are back together. I almost expected that maybe once a year while they're still talking and doing stuff together. But the Global Iron in October. I was kind of surprised by that. So hopefully a good sign of things to come, that everybody's healthy and doing well. Like I said, the band sounded great at that Chimaira Christmas 2025. So there's definitely nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of set list for me. They sound amazing. So
Yep. Excellent. All right. Well, we have a special show coming up in a couple weeks. We're going to do a special Sunday show, and we're doing it because we have a special guest coming on with us. So
we do.
If you're out there, we will be doing Sunday. I think it's the 27th. I think, is that right?
26th.
26th. Okay. Sunday, the 26th. Right?
Now I got to look it up.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, Sunday the 26th at 6 o'clock. We're gonna do one of the hair metal favorites. But this guy that we're gonna have on, we will talk more about him when we're on with him. But he has already done a deep dive into this band, so I don't want to mention him or it because I don't want everybody to just go read what he wrote and then come in here and have him just say the same stuff. So we will definitely talk about it that night. So, but special Sunday show, weekends work better for him. So we are going to have a special guest, and it's nobody in the band. Like I actually had somebody guess, another friend of mine, and he's like, George Lynch. I'm like, oh, no, I just gave it away. But I'm like, yeah, no, nobody in the band. Come on.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know if anybody's listening to this. Anyway, maybe I didn't give anything away. But anyway, it'll be fun. We like having guests on, and we will probably have a few more. We'll line up along the way. Some other people that are kind of into the same things we are, and kind of into the same circles, like on X. Other people that have podcasts that kind of listen to the same kind of music we do. So I'd like to kind of do some cross stuff with them. That would be cool. So the guy we're going to have on doesn't have his own podcast yet, but I can see him very extensive knowledge of a lot of these bands we do. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't have his own radio station or show coming here pretty soon, because he's definitely pumping the content out on Twitter.
Right.
You can find him if you look. It's not hard. He's everywhere. You see him, I see him. He's out there all the time. But anyway, we'll talk more about that then. So July 26th at 6 p.m. live here on YouTube.
Absolutely. So thank you for checking out Chimaira.
Yes.
And we will see you in the next one.
Rock on, Cleveland.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What would you say you do here?
God damn it. Bob, we love playing here tonight. My brother's ready.
It helps if you think of it as a game, Bob. Every game has a winner and a loser.
You must possess strength to inflict pain, Bob.